What is going on YouTube? My name is Lucas, and today I have an absolute epic collaboration for you guys. It is going to be with TC from Burner Market Trading. Go ahead and cue the confetti pop. And the reason is because, ladies and gentlemen, an absolute awesome conference call happened on Friday, which TC from Burner Market Trading live streamed. It was absolutely phenomenal, and we decided to collab over the weekend and do some epic things for you guys because obviously we needed to break this thing down, really dive in, see what's going on, and really this is an absolute awesome collaboration. We really did dive in, break this thing down. I let TC work his magic with the chart, and we put together what I feel is an absolute amazing video for you guys. So if you're interested in Hmbl, because I know a ton of you are, I suggest you stay tuned right after this. What is going on YouTube? My name is Lucas, and today we're going to be talking about Humbl, the conference call, and we have an absolute phenomenal guest on. It is an absolute privilege to have this guy on. I tell you what, unbelievable. TC from Burner Market Trading. TC, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, how you doing, Lucas, man? Great to see you. Great to see you. Thanks for having me on, bro. Pleasure to be here. Glad to be here. Thank you, man. That conference call was electric. We had a lot of great details dropped. There's lots of crazy things, and very excited.
It was sick, man. Your freaking live streams, especially for that conference call, are fire, man. You know, I'm as a spectator, I absolutely love just being a part of it, just watching and doing your thing, man. You're in the zone, and it's absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah, the energy is next level. I've never seen anything like it on the internet. The Hmbl Nation, the Hmbl family, they are here to stay in my heart. It's absolutely incredible. I love it so much. I look forward to every conference call, right? Putting on the suit, hyping it up, but getting serious when we need to be, and right now it's a serious time. It's a serious time in the for the Hmbl shareholders. So, excited about the Nashville event, definitely going to be there at the concert, at that event. We'll be making an appearance there, then the Q4 party in San Diego. So lots of great things ahead. I'm excited. I'm stoked. I don't think there's anything that could shake me from Hmbl at this point, man.
I got you, man, for sure. And that's awesome. So that leads us right into exactly because, everything leading up to this point in the videos I was doing, I said to me, this is going to be the most intense and probably most serious conference call that they have because there started to be a lot of questions. There started to be a lot of things like, is there going to be another reverse split? I saw that a couple times. I've had so many people in my comment section say these preferred B shares is starting to be a concern. We understand that warrants are out there with FORW and George Sharp. So there were a lot of questions going into this that really were a concern. So we're going to dive into this just a little bit, and I'll get your thoughts from it. So because obviously you ran the show yesterday. So Class B preferred shares was a concern. The outstanding shares fall below 900 million. So that was a big thing to wake up to, kind of be introed into yesterday through Twitter. A lot of people who cover this really kind of started posting those pictures. So that was a number one significant piece. Brian posted in the conference call that he has sold zero again, ladies and gentlemen, of his shares, and his salary is an amazing one George Washington. So, that right there, if that doesn't show commitment to not only the shareholders, but the company itself, I mean, come on now. And then in the conference call, it stated that 137,917,334 shares were retired post-split. So again, really kind of coming about the post-split retiring. And then Brian's common shares to preferred B, 79,625,000. So he transferred over a little bit more to the B shares. One of the biggest things that we talked about, and I know you hit on after the conference call, was that the fact that they're locking up 45% of the preferred B shares through 2022. So I did throw a lot at you. Obviously, what are your thoughts just really from a lot of that information? Because really, that is a massive chunk of information, but that really is a big portion of what people were concerned with.
Absolutely. And I think with with the moonshot after the reverse split up into the sixes, up, I think it tickled 7 right there. With that moonshot, lots of eyes were drawn to it, right? So you have people writing articles about it, you have new eyes on it, people buying it up at the top there. I think knowing that those preferred shares are going to be locked away till 2023 gives all of those people the peace of mind that they're rolling with a company and a CEO that's dedicated to the shareholder, dedicated to making sure that they're playing their role as a public company, right? And especially on the OTCs being such a speculative market, he didn't have, Mr. Foote did not have to come out and show all of that information, right? Did not have to say his salary is $1. Did not have to, he's personally made a tweet that pledged he hasn't sold any shares, not selling any shares of his own personal, right? Showing, he said, I think how he put it in the call was showing that his team's going to put in the reps, right? And for the long term, that's what a shareholder needs to hear. And I feel like this call, I don't want to say it came out of nowhere, but with the recent price action, getting beaten down to $1.08, getting down to $1.20, I felt like that ruffled some feathers, right? It kind of maybe Hmbl started thinking about, hey, let's touch base with our community. Let's clear the air here. That was assuring to me that they heard this ripple kind of go out there, and they answered it, right? They came through and they broke it down with a pie chart. They showed exactly, they just lifted the veil. They showed exactly, how everything was broken down. 45% of that's going to be locked up till 2023, his salary. And then to add on top of that, no dilution. Next merger, next acquisition, that's going to be on the preferred shares. That's going to go, the treasure chest is paying for that one. Yeah. So that's big, two acquisitions in the last 2 calls. It's stable. There's progress. Every box has been checked that, Brian Foote has come on to these calls. I've done, I think 4 or 5 of them now, or maybe 6, but every call he has come through and not only answered, but came out with something that we hadn't expected, right? So now you spoke about his next acquisition, maybe something in delivery.
Still a little bit on the fence about delivery. I don't fully understand the unit economics of that. I think in some countries it works where, you're in condensed environments, lots of motorbikes, and so on. So that's probably an acquisition for us if we do it.
He thinks that might work out, but just certainly everything with this move into the NFTs, I'm very bullish all the way around. I'll kick it back to you because I could just keep on going, my friend.
Yeah, man. No, that's, you're killing it. And that's what but that right there shows someone who cares about this stock. And like, you're not the only one who has the same mentality. I'm the same way. And if you go on social media, it doesn't matter if it's Twitter, if it's StockTwitch, you're going to sense and feel the same thing. And so that is why I think we saw what we saw. I think, like you just said, there is a lot of emotion, and I'm pretty sure Brian Foote's not the only one that is being paid in shares. I'm sure there's some employees that are being paid through that aspect, and they're like, hey, we've hyped this thing up. We've got through the walk or the crawl phase. We're in kind of that walking phase now. We're trying to get some of that stuff going to the running phase or the jogging phase. And we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves from a stock perspective, from a business perspective. We need to kind of lure it back in and really explain to our shareholders, this is what's going on. And I'm glad they did that. So that does lead me to the next thing, because the last time you and I collaborated together, it was actually on a conference call, it was when they were on CNBC, and Brian Foote went on to CNBC. So obviously the big question came from Morgan. What is your guys' revenue? He kind of, that was a big question mark. What is your guys' revenue? Well, he touched on that in the conference call yesterday. So he talked about subscription revenue across our ETX solution that is driving strong value. He talked about the transaction revenue across marketplace and ticketing, vendor shops, and coming soon with the NFTs, which, you hit on yourself. You could talk about it for days. The NFTs, to me, is beyond exciting. Transaction revenue across mobile pay from national and international users and merchants. So, ladies and gentlemen, there are a ton of things. Oh, wait, achieved 1 million in growth ticket sales over the last 30 rolling days from Tickery. I mean, that's incredible. And then a 33% increase in ticketing sales over the previous 30-day period. Well, let's think about that. That is due to the more activity amongst the global pandemic obviously being let up, the global economy starting to come back. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting to see the revenue. They're being audited. He talked about that as well. What are your thoughts on the revenue piece since the last time we collaborated to this point now?
I think you brought up 4 or 5 different streams of revenue right there. The biggest one I think for me is that Brian Foote gets it. Yeah. He's tapped in. He's hip, right? Every conference call, since the NFT, he's been talking about NBA Top Shot. And anybody who's tapped in to the sports, to what's going on the internet, NBA Top Shot is blowing up right now. He gets it. He's tapped in. He knows which direction it's going. And I think as far as revenues go, you're opening up a whole new way with these ETX, with this ETX to invest, to approach crypto. Adaptability. He spoke on, the tech, like all the app developers, all the devs, they're aware of the fact that they need this stable coin. They need these features and these tools inside of their app. And I think once that starts to get built out and matures a little bit. And what you said, if you're not going to stay with us for the long haul, if you want all that tomorrow, just go ahead and sell.
We intend to build an environment for them. It'll take time. We aren't going to do this overnight. So if you want this to be built overnight, then don't invest in Hmbl, because that's not going to happen.
And like the chat erupted with that, right? But I think that is once that builds out and matures, that's when you'll start to see, what Brian Foote has in mind with owning the ticketing, owning the NFT marketplace, solving the foreign exchange solution, right? Bringing on these artisans and these brands, and they're creating a way for businesses to operate in this new landscape that we don't even have the capacity to understand at this point, Lucas. We are, as humans, I believe this firmly, right? Your parents, they would have never thought that this would be possible, what we're doing right now, technological, but the rate at which technology is advancing, I think, he was asking for a little bit of patience, but in the same token, I think we're going to see a ramp up very quick, right? Yeah. It's going to be one of those, oh, what? We saw it on CNBC, and then 6 to 8 months later, maybe we see that Nelson Cruz NFT drop, right? Yeah. And, getting back to the revenue stream, when an NFT is transacted from one point from one party to another, whoever has minted that NFT, whoever the owner is, right? So Brian Foote's building, that was the last acquisition, with Monster, because they're going to own these NFTs. And every time they get traded and every time there's a transaction that gets sold on a marketplace, the minter, the creator of that NFT, correct me if I'm wrong, I know this is super new and I still need to get super into, but the minter themselves, they're going to get a portion of each transaction. It's going to get kicked back to them. Yeah. Right? And to have the technology, the web, to just have all that within one ecosystem, in one company, in one startup, with a CEO who's so hip to it, who's speaking about things that I'm seeing in real life, and that I'm getting amped up, man. I'm just getting amped up.
No, I completely understand, man. And if you look too, because I know you're in tune to a lot of this stuff as well. You're seeing how much these NFTs are selling for. Like, I'm seeing some outrageous prices. And that they're not going to just make a flimsy, like just half, not the best of quality NFT. Like, they're going to go all out, because we're going to talk about an acquisition that they made that I feel is just going to take it to the next level too when it comes to these NFTs. So in all honesty, that leads us to the next thing, is the events and acquisitions, but that also ties in that NFT portion. So Hmbl did announce a binding term sheet to acquire Monster Creative. That was also a nuke that they dropped on us literally before the conference call. Like, it was like a chain effect, no pun intended, blockchain effect going on as we're leading up to this conference call. Yeah. And we were literally like just plucking news out of the sky. And this was incredible. But then he also, oh, wait, there was more. He announced that they would be coming to an official NFT provider of the Pilgrimage Festival in September of 2021. So there's a picture of Brian sitting on a couch holding a guitar, looking absolutely fly, like just ready to roll, man. You could tell he was super happy. He also then tweeted later that, it's nice for them to get back on the road. I think there was a lot going on in this conversation with the Pilgrimage Festival, because it looked like they were also getting some of that stuff done there in Tennessee for the event coming up. But two absolute monster pieces of information there. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think we're gonna have a great time come September here. Coming into September, we're in Tennessee. Got some family out that way. I think we are definitely going to set up a burner market tent there. And Lucas, I'm looking forward. I don't know what kind of strings we got to pull to get you out there, my friend. But it needs to have it. Just there wasn't even a question. There wasn't a thought in my mind. I picked up the phone right after the conference call. I said, "Hey, honey, we're going to Nashville. We have to go. We need to do it." And I'll explain later. I can't begin to think about what a NFT is going to look like, just the first one, right? And I'm so excited that I'm going to be there for it, and I'm going to be a part of it. And I'm looking forward to meeting everybody from the Hmbl Nation, from Twitter, from the YouTube, right? Everybody who I've interacted with online, I'm looking forward to. If you make that trip out, I'm looking forward to, sharing a high five and, cracking a cold one. It's going to be a fun time. Like, I'm excited for the whole community aspect of it, but yeah. Now looking to dial back in on our last acquisition here with Monster, I think that this music event, we have a top tier, a well-respected in the industry, name coming in and doing the research. There's case studies out. Like there's this isn't going to be the first one, right? So those kinks have all been worked out. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of just speaking on to build like a successful NFT community, right? Yeah. To where, some of them sell at insane prices, right? But there's nothing behind it. There's no community. There's no benefit to it. It's just simply an NFT with no kind of GIF gag or, I don't know. There's nothing special about it, right? Yeah. And I see a lot of people just cashing in off of, NFT this, NFT that. That's great. But what Hmbl does so great is because they sell you the ticket, they host the event, and now I want to see what the Dave Matthews Band NFT is going to look like when I'm there on the end of September. And you want to talk about a revenue stream? If people in these follow, like you're piggybacking off of pop culture, right? With a Dave Matthews Band community that you're tapping into just by hosting and being present at the event. Now everybody who loves this band and is dedicated and loyal to one following through a music aspect will now also have a new way to interact with their favorite band. And who's bringing you that experience? Hmbl, through the last acquisition, and they have the marketplace for it. They're literally when you scan the ticket, it's not going to be like, you lose people in friction, or if you have to, click off or click through to a different thing, or maybe download a different app or sign up for an account, you just lose people. This is going to be a one-stop shop. Here's my app, here's my ticket, here's my phone, scan it. And then on that app, within that app will be your inventory of your NFTs, and Brian Foote talked about this earlier. You can take snippets of that concert, or if you have, some maybe life history altering event in this sporting event or at this lap, that there's the opportunities are endless. And I said this earlier, as humans, we don't even we don't have the capacity to see 30 years, 40 years down the road, you know.
No, yeah, man. And I started thinking a lot of the things that I'm wondering, and a perfect example is, let's say just out of the blue, someone decides to propose at this event. I mean, your proposal could be an NFT, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Who's
all
gonna be
that
the
could
first
be,
one? I'm gonna Google it right now. Sorry, I'm just gonna Google it right now.
yeah. I mean, that honestly right there is something to think about as far as that. I mean,
Well,
that could
that's
be
just
in,
like it's just endless, man.
yes,
It's
yeah.
infinity.
I mean, and just like he was talking to, like the clips of athletic events, just quick, like, I mean, maybe you see a triple play. Like triple plays are extremely rare, and maybe you're a part of that triple play, and that's tagged to your NFT ticket or something. I mean, I know that his mind, and that's probably why he doesn't sleep. And he's talked about that multiple times. I don't know how the guy smiles and functions during these conference calls because he doesn't sleep. And his mind is probably constantly going like, how do I get this accomplished? Who do I need to talk to, and things like that. And I mean, absolutely incredible. So what I'm going to do, man, honestly, is we're to the point now where this is where you're a master. This is where you're a wizard. This is where you're an absolute freak. And that is breaking down charts. Honestly, when I first found burner market trading, I was in shock and awe. My mouth hit the floor at your capabilities of breaking these charts down, man. So let's see what you got. Let's hear it. I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna go get my popcorn, man, because this is my favorite time. So let's do this thing.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, let me share up the screen here. All right, so first things first, I'm gonna start looking at it. Taking a look here. I want to see this daily. This is what we got to get into right down here. So I'm just taking it on the daily to start and spreading it out here to see kind of what the price action's been doing as we've gotten down to this, what seems like the $1 floor, right? All the way down to, what was it, 108 on the low here, right? So in, what was it, April 20th, right? I can see right on the daily chart, and I want to go just a little bit higher. So we got the gap. And then let's throw this over here.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're taking notes. Get your notepads out, get your pens out. Let's watch this as it happens live.
So this pattern right here you see on the daily chart, this is a descending wedge. Okay, so you have a gap down from your candle up here, right? So one big red candle down, a second one. The second one gets bought all the way back up. The lowest it hits is 108, gets bought all the way back up to 134. So let's keep this right here. This is where I'm going to stop and put a marker because this is significant to me because our price just absolutely free fell and it bounced up and it settled at this price at the end of the day. I need to take note of that just moving forward. So first thing, I'm going to put a line right there, just going across at 134 here. So our price dips down, we shoot back up here, and it starts to form this zigzag of a wedge, right? So it's kind of, the pattern's called the descending wedge, right? And we're looking for a reversal out of it. So the key point that we need to identify is going to be the support level. And it's very tough in this moment because you can't find two green days strung together in this pattern, right? You got two red, green, four red, one green. You can't find two greens strung together. So just your basic principle of just to make a purchase of a stock, you want to see at least, that's in a falling knife situation. You want to see, it's just a 3-day rule, right? You want to see 3 green days in a row before maybe anybody would consider purchasing the stock, right? Because at this point, we're searching for a bottom, right? And we don't know where that's going to be. And if you look at the volume accumulation indicator that Thinkorswim has right here, you hit 0 at this point, and that's at the bottom right here. It starts to form this wick at the bottom, or the tail, right? So your tail's on the bottom, the wick's on the top. So you form this tail, and the float starts to get bought up here, okay? And it gets bought up all the way to 100% by the time this doji hits, and now the market makers are just in control of it, right? So you have your reaction, your overreaction, your bounce back up to it, and now you're forming this wedge. So I would look from the top down here. I would want to see where the bodies of these candles are starting to cut through on the top side. So this is our first one on the daily that we have right here. And it actually breaks all the way up to 158. You know, we had a nice morning on Friday, you know, but the main thing that I'm looking for right now is just the other points where we bounced along it, right? So we have our wedge. We tried to break outside of it. They pushed us back down. I'm seeing light volume on all of these here. This is really your only significant volume. It spikes up here on this day. So it's going to lead me to say that you have 134 is your level. It bounced once, bounced twice here. And looking at it from this bottom side, I'm noticing these angles are holding. Can't argue with that. Can't be angry with that, right? As a long. You want to see higher lows here. So you're making 3 steps upwards. It's making me optimistic that we are finding this bottom, you know, and we will start to, the float's starting to, what's a good word for it? Like the float is starting to consolidate, right? I mean, that's what this is. This is just consolidation. It's a wave in a rectangle from a high to a low, and you're finding your range. Your range is tightening up, you know, and I'm looking for one more sell-off here. Maybe we tap down to 140 before we really start to put on, and it actually might even look something like this. It might be a deeper tail than this, right? Even Monday, they could probably even take it down to 125. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they do take it down to 121 right here, just off of the body of this candle, off of the bottom of this tail. I wouldn't be surprised if they did take it all the way down to 121, you know, 120-ish before we got that reversal, right? So that's 30 cents off the price.
Yeah.
But TC is going to be hanging out right down here with some buy orders in the case of that, you know, and that's, you know, how I'm looking at this now is I've paid a lot of money for Hmbl before relative to what the price is now. I've paid a lot of money, you know, like I'm down on a lot of my buys from Hmbl that were up here in the 2s and 3s.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this at 150. I think everybody's on the same side of the fence here.
Yeah.
I think if you were going to sell, you have sold. The tree's been shaken. The float's getting tightened up here. The range is getting tighter. It's in good hands. I'm seeing slopes upwards here, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think the worst is behind us, right? And you know, in terms of 108. But if I see 121 tomorrow, I'm jumping at that opportunity. You know, I mean, say tomorrow, I mean Monday. But if I see that early in the week, I'm jumping, you know, and we'll keep this up. We'll see how this does. But
For sure.
Anything right around here, you know, right when this wedge, they like to let it run, let people buy the top right here. This is the last bull trap they have. You're coming up and cracking these resistance levels, you know, made a pass at it. So I'll take that off. We'll look at it horizontally again from 154. You have wicks to the top side here, trying to hold it back every time it's tried to make a run past up 165 up on this level. So, you know, there's just a few more hurdles to get through, right? I'm seeing a nice burst out of, you know, that was Friday morning, sold off, held green on the day though. So let's see what we can do here on Monday. If we can put in 2 green days in a row and get past this 155 level, I think there's no chance we go down to 130.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, out of these conference calls, out of these, you know, significant news events, you can never really tell, right? If it's buy the rumors, sell the news, right? And the only, if it does sell off down to 133 here, I would feel pretty safe knowing that we've taken one leg down, our second leg down, our third leg down. We're trying to break to the top side. We take one last dip to plant our foot in the ground, and it needs to wick down to 135. It needs to put a tail down here, you know, before it can go higher. So, and that'll signify the market makers changing their position from, you know, downward bias and sideways to let's send this thing along again. And we could be as far as a week away. We could be as far as a day away. We could be, this could all happen very quickly. But the key thing is that Hmbl longs are going to be Hmbl longs. They're going to be hanging out with those Tanzanite hands, right? But
Yep.
managing your cost average, right? When it's on a rip, go ahead and sell some at the top. You are still a long if you sell some at the top and buy back in at the bottom. I promise you.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the thing. I didn't want to cheat on workhorse. I didn't want to sell my workhorse, but you know how it is, bro. You know how it is.
I'm right there with you, man. No, yeah.
Right here, I'm seeing key resistance levels. So 155 is going to be a key level for resistance. Another one as well should be around 160 or 170-ish, somewhere in between here. You see a lot. I mean, but right now, 135, I think that's where you're seeing the market makers show up to accumulate it and buy it up. So, I mean, we could break it down into, a whole bunch of different time frames, really zoom in and get deeper into it. But for now, I think this is this is the egg we got to protect. And if it does reach this zone, I think moving forward from it, you're going to snap back and see that whipsaw right back up. And we're going to start knocking on the door at $2 here very quickly.
Yeah, man, for sure. And, I think from an analytical standpoint, definitely in the chart, what you're saying makes sense. My thoughts from the PR standpoint and what we've kind of endured, I really do feel that the biggest concern, like I said in the open of this video, was the fact that so many people were concerned with the preferred B portion. And really, I think a big question was, what is going on with all of that information? All that was literally laid out to us. And I think that is now also going to be kind of a shift as well, because we're not concerned with dilution. We're not concerned that, a ton of people are going to start selling the moment that they are able to. I mean, he even put some regulations in place for, senior executives and things like that. So from a chart perspective, I love it, man. And it aligns really with my thoughts going from a PR, really a publicity, like that standpoint. I think that, everything was kind of shaky when we had that week long where the app was being released. We were going on CNBC. There just was a lot of shaky stuff. Even though that was tremendous stuff coming out of that, we just weren't like, this feels great. There were still some question marks. This right here, for me at least, and I've seen some other people. I don't know how you feel. I'd like to hear it. I feel great coming out of this. I feel like this is what we needed, and I'm ready to go, man. Like I like you just said, it's if you are a long, just because you trim some does not mean you're not a long. Like you have to make money. That's the whole point of this game, is to make money. So, what are your thoughts on like how you feel personally with this stock?
I've heard, so something to keep in mind here that is very key, in my opinion, when you go on CNBC and you get in front of the world and you tell the world that you're doing NFTs and you're doing things that humans can't comprehend yet, and you're promising it, and when they ask you what's your revenue and you don't have a number, it doesn't matter what the news is, doesn't matter what was said before or after. The world is out to murder you. Mm-hmm. Okay, you are an OTC stock that is overextended, right? And they're talking about, you look at the market cap, it got pretty impressive. Like it was, for what it's argue if something's justified, how many times forward should it be, should it be trading? This is a startup here. Right. And on the hype on it, I think now certainly the question of the Series B shares, right? The Class B shares, that is what sent this thing down, right? But when you get in front of the world in CNBC, all eyes are on you, right? So I think this thing got shorted into nothingness, right? And that's just the powers that be saying, oh, okay, Brian Foote's on CNBC with an NFT company on the OTC market that has no revenue. Mm-hmm. Okay, Bill, is that one good? Okay, TSMPD, yeah, that's one. Okay, all right, wait for the ticker change to Humbl, let it fly. All right, $7, sounds good. Drop the hammer. So, I mean, I think looking at this company, looking at this now, having the opportunity to acquire shares at $1.50.
Yeah.
I think you have it. I think that is a very favorable reward ratio,
Yeah.
because looking at this thing at $4, $5, $6, that's 200, 300, 400% upside in something that we've never been more stoked about. We've never seen more progress on. And I think it's simply, I mean, the powers that be, you get in front of Wall Street and say you have no revenue and you're an OTC stock that's overextended by thousands of percent, you know, I think they said, let's shake out some retail. And that's what's happening here. It's a season. I mean, it got smacked once, twice, 3 times here. It's I mean, it was a big sell the news, right? And that just fueled the sell off, right? With the CNBC thing. Another theory I have as well is the ETX, right? If you are an individual, an investor with under $25,000, you know, you're probably, you know, like, I mean, just saying, probably on average, I'd say most people who talk to are underneath the, you know, the PDT, the pattern day trader limit. So I'd say if you want to participate in the ETX, I don't think you're going to sell your Dogecoin. I don't think you're going to sell your Ethereum. You know, I think people sold their Humble shares that they had up from penny, you know, TSMP early, probably sold that, flipped it to Ethereum or flipped it to the ETX. You know, no big deal. I think I mean, people want to participate in that, but that money has to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah, no.
And, you know, I think that a lot of it came from, you know, because it's just not other people using the ETX yet. It's not marketed. It's not fully, you know, still, you know, it's function, but it's just not what it can be, or even near its potential for what we know it is. So, you know, I'm looking at this share price, this chart right now. It looks like a slingshot ready to go like this, right? But when will it go? When will you know, you could bet that your boy TC and Lucas are going to be live on YouTube when it does happen. When this thing breaks out, we see a nice thick green candle come through and print on this chart.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Well, that was absolutely lovely, man. I'm telling you, I can't thank you enough for coming onto this channel. Like, for real, this, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know how I wrap up my videos, and we're going to do that right now because we've been rolling. We've been hot, and you guys know how I end up my videos. I can assure you, one, this will not be the last video on Hmbl. I can assure you, two, this will not be the last collaboration you see of TC and you see of your guy, Lucas Murphy. And so I do want to remind you guys, we are not financial advisors, and anything we say in this video is for pure entertainment purposes only. And that's exactly what we're here to do, is entertain. And you guys know how I do it. If you like this video, smash that like button. It helps out tremendously. And if you enjoy the content, because I'm going to keep the content flowing, and I know TC is going to keep the content flowing, subscribe to our YouTube channels. Head on over to Burner Market Trading, smash that subscribe button, smash that like button. He goes live a ton, almost every single day, ladies and gentlemen. Go over there, check it out. And as always, have a good day.